Booting up system. Loading.
Gabriel Valentine.
Loading.
Dan Brozo.
This is the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown.
Welcome to the DLOD show, guys.
Yo, what's up?
I am playing the most amazing game ever on VR right now. Fighting Dan.
Drawn to Death is the name of it.
Controlling my
I'm winning. Gabe
character.
is terrible at
I'm pretty
this new
coordinated.
technology.
I'm looking at a mirror version of the screen through a camera
I
screen.
thought you were playing telepathically.
And then playing on VR technology. Oh, yeah.
This will all
Nice.
be covered in the interview segment of the show. Oh,
Nice.
God.
Oh, son of a gun. All right, guys. Let's get to some comic books.
Yeah, let's talk about comic books so we can talk about this more. Let's talk about comic books now.
Let's talk about comic books.
You ready?
now.
You want me to lead her off?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, so I was just clicking through comics in the Comics Fix app, as we do when we're looking for stuff to talk about. And I clicked on this one that had like some cool like highlighter color art on the front with like some pen art style stuff
Classic
too.
Dan.
Just like the game we're going to be talking about on the show today in the interview portion. And I read the description in the first 3 words: sex, drugs, Cthulhu. I was like, dude, all right, I'm in. I'm going to check this out. It's called Golgotha or Golgotha. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't even care. Golgotha, I was right the first time. I'm just going to read the description because this is what sold me. Sometimes I look at the art and that sells me. Sometimes I read the first few pages and that sells me. But this time I read the description and I was in immediately. When the skull of horror icon H.P. Lovecraft is stolen from his grave, a group of junkie misfits set out on a quest to retrieve it. I'm not even going to read the rest. That's all. Actually, a few more things. Hold on, go back. Standing in their way are enormous drug habits, belligerent punk rockers, Brazilian vampires, and the unspeakable horrors of Lovecraft's fiction seeping into reality. So it's basically a group of like anti-heroes that are trying to get Lovecraft's skull back. And like there's stuff from Lovecraft's fiction that are like coming to life in this book. And it's really cool. And it's a longer form one too. It's like 130 pages.
Oh, nice. It's like a graphic novel.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So it's rad.
I also
the
picked a
art
graphic
is
novel.
awesome, and it's funny and it's engaging, and it's got a darkness to it too, which you know I love. I love when it
baby.
gets dark. All
Cool,
right,
man.
that's mine, Golgotha. And now I hand it on to you.
That's rad, man.
Yeah, it's tight. I know it's rad. I picked it.
So I picked Tart, which
It's
is
about
also,
pastries.
No, it's just the hero's name. Tart Acid actually is her full name. So yeah, it's super sick. It's right up your alley too. The art is really cool. It's like neon colorish. Did you ever play the Wolf Among Us, that game? Did you play it at all?
I've watched
can't
you play
remember.
the entire game over a night.
I can't remember. Sorry, jeez.
You can remember.
It reminds
You're
me
just-
of. It reminds me of that.
Okay.
It's really cool. And
Tight.
yeah, but anyways, so Tart, she's like this detective kind of secret agent style, like noir girl, and she just goes and fights supernatural demons and monsters.
Tight.
And she is an interdimensional traveler.
Tight.
And at first, I couldn't tell like if it was her imagination or if she was actually going to different dimensions.
Yeah.
But it kind of just keeps the book moving a little bit. Yeah. So, but
So
she
there's like
actually,
a brain twistery aspect to it.
yeah, she's like actually goes
That's
to like
tight.
different dimensions and stuff like that.
Man.
And she's off fighting evil, and
I got too
she's-
much stuff to read right now.
I know, it's good, man.
But these are long ones too. I wish
Yeah.
I had a ton of stuff to read that was like short and I could actually get to the end of my list, you know?
I know, it's a long list.
Oh.
It's made by Kevin Joseph, by the way. Written by Kevin Joseph, so shout out to him. See, I had the name down.
It is an easy
Before.
name for you.
So super cool, guys.
It's 4 syllables total.
Check it out on Comics Fix right now. Tart, super rad. The first 3 issues are included in the graphic novel.
Cool. You want to get into our interview?
Let's do it.
David frickin' Jaffe.
I know, dude.
Easter egg for you guys. I think I had...
And Nick.
And Nick, yeah. Well, David Jaffe is like the...
We're both too afraid to pronounce his last name.
Yeah,
we
Nick's,
love you, Nick.
Nick's fancy-ass
But-
Eastern Southern European last name.
Yeah.
It's like Greek or something.
It's like Kokomo.
It's Greek.
something
It's like
that.
Konstolopos.
Nick Kokomo?
What is it? Say it again. Monty, off screen. How do you say his last name? He doesn't even know. He's worked with him for 35 years. It's Cunning Langopos.
It's Kokomo. It's
Kokomo.
It's Kokomo. It's Beach Boys.
Easter egg for the interview though. I think that I had we recorded it earlier. I think I had a crushed red pepper in my teeth the entire time.
Right on.
So look for that, guys.
Let's do it. Commander Echo's guest of honor.
Our guest has arrived.
Commander Echo's guest of honor, and it's like the most honorable guest we've probably had on the show yet. I'm like
Guaranteed.
this. I just feel slightly uncomfortable sitting next to you right now. David Jaffe.
How are you?
And Nick, game developers. and Nick. I don't know your last name, Nick.
Kononelos. Nick.
Say it one more time. What is it?
Kononelos.
Kononelos. That's why I don't know it. It's too advanced for my primitive brain over here. So you know David from making games that you love, God of War, Twisted Metal, and now Drawn to Death. You guys are working on.
Yep.
And I told friends that we were gonna have you on the show, and I just saw like the look. It was like sadness and then happiness. It was like, dude, I'm so jealous because they were jealous. They were like, man, your life is way better than mine. I'm like, it's not that. I mean, I get to meet really cool people,
but don't feel bad about it.
You have like a
I just
steady
like whenever
paycheck.
my name comes up, the response is sadness.
Well, it's jealousy of me
No,
that
I
they get to
understand.
meet you. Yeah, it's not just like I hate
Well,
that
hang
guy.
around for a few more minutes and you'll realize it ain't all. It's just kind of like people here go that when they are reminded sometimes that people know me from making games and stuff. They're just like, but you're just Jaffe. What?
Yeah.
Why? You know? And I know
Yeah.
that, but it's funny to hear them. There's a thing online that says net worth, and it's totally bullshit because it says
Is
I'm
it way
worth,
higher?
Oh my god, dude! It says
Like you
it
wish
sa-
that was
it
true.
says I'm worth $4 million.
Dude.
Cut that like, by like one. I'm not gonna just a lot. It's not even close to that. And it's like so people have a total false sense of what video game designers do and make and stuff.
Dang it, because I
And
was gonna hit you up for like $20.
$20 I could probably swing, but
kind of bummed out. Huh?
Yeah, so
interview over, guys.
Anyway, point is though they don't need to be sad or jealous because
I don't think they can help it.
All right, well,
even
fuck
if
'em.
I explain, even if they watch this, they'd still be like, "But dude,
All right.
I think
like
it's
come
more
on."
cool stuff, man. I mean, you are responsible for so much cool
A
stuff.
lot of us are. It's not just me. It's a
Yeah.
whole team. Every game.
I love this dude.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's just. I mean, look, I've never been one of those people who are like I take great pride in my individual contributions, but I can't do anything. I couldn't do this game without Nick. I couldn't do this game without Monty. I couldn't do this game without the whole team. So it really is. There are aspects of the game that I look at and I see myself in, and it's very much sort of my game. But I would imagine everybody on the team hopefully has that same feeling about the game, that their spirit is infused in it just like mine is. So when people attribute it all to me, it doesn't go down that easily because it's not accurate, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Legit.
Right on,
Yeah.
dude.
So before we get into talking about Drawn to Death, I was in. This is like 3 or 4 years ago. I had not played any God of War games at this point.
Yeah.
And I've heard all my friends talking about it. I'm like, I'm not into playing like a beat 'em up right now. Like that's not what I'm feeling. And I had like about a year where I wasn't playing like any video games, and I was down about it because I freaking love playing games. Right. And I just happened into GameStop one day, and I saw God of War 3 sitting there on the shelf, and I was like, all right, I'll pick it up. Like I'll just see what all the buzz is about. And that game, just in and of itself, reinvigorated my love of video games. It was like a transformative moment for me.
That's pretty cool.
Like I was not playing anything,
Now,
and then
again,
after that I was
just
like, all right, I'm into games again. Let's do this.
Full disclosure, I had one meeting on God of War 3 and then I was out. So
Oh, really?
I was God of War 1, God of War 2.
Well, here's what happened. I then bought like the anniversary collection and played all the other games, even like the PSP ones.
Oh, okay, great.
Like
all
the
right.
ports of
all
them.
right. So yeah, I worked on some of those for sure. So yeah,
I played the crap out of those games.
Awesome. I'm glad you liked them. I'm glad it got you back into gaming.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
And now I play games every single day. For
what do
way
you think
too
it
long.
was that got that game relit that fire for you?
There are so many games that I just get bored of almost immediately. Like games that are just like riddled with side quests, and like I want to do all of that stuff. Like a Far Cry, for example. Like I want to do every side quest before I even go on to the main quest, and I get bored because like my brain wants to do all of it, but my heart is just like tired of it after like I don't know 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, all right, there's no like story progression, and God of War games are like big and epic, and it's like. There's no like dull moments in it, you know?
No, I mean God of War was conceived as a game that very much was sort of designed like you would edit an action movie, where there had been so many games, wonderful games. I mean, Onimusha, Devil May Cry, a lot of them from Japan that really at the time was sort of leading the charge of sort of action adventure character based games. Yeah. And we were like, the one thing we don't like about those games is the repetition of, let's put you in a room, lock the door, fight some bad guys, go down a hall, put you in a room. As deep and wonderful as the combat was, it never felt like you were really on an adventure. It felt more like you were in like sort of a stylish fighting simulator. And so for us, we had a rule that was like, just like you wouldn't, if you would edit a film, you'd edit out the boring parts. For us, we threw away a bunch of stuff that had been created, which the team didn't like, of course.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because it was like, what, this just feels like it's got too much fat on the bones. Let's kind of, let's just keep it tight and taut and that's why those games take a long time to make and they're really expensive, is because every room is different and every mission is not like, let's repeat the same fucking mission over and over and over. And it's fun, but it's, it just takes a long time to do those.
Yeah, arduous,
I fell in love with God of War because that was the first video game. I mean, I played it right when it came out, and that was the first video game where I was like, oh man, like, I'm good at action games too, because I've always been an RPG player my whole life, and I could never shoot the guy, at the right spot, or like my timing was always off, and I had fun with them, but it was like, oh man, I was more frustrated than fun. That was the first game where I'm like, oh yeah, just press, circle and just jam it down his throat.
It's
now.
intuitive.
Yeah, this is sick, and like
super intuitive.
And when it first came out, I mean, I can't think of. I'm sure that technology already existed, but for me, I'd never seen anything like that. The whole button smashing thing in between these cutscenes that just made it look made you feel like you just had all this control.
Well, okay, so the two things real quick I'll say about that, just because I'd like to respond to that. The first one is just, I'm very aware there's a vocal group out there that looks at our fighting system in God of War games and says, it's incredibly shallow compared to a game like Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry, which is accurate. It's accurate. I mean, it's kind of like the difference between playing Sega's Daytona versus Gran Turismo. I mean, there's, we didn't want to make Gran Turismo. We wanted to make Daytona. We wanted to make something that was more accessible.
San Francisco Rush.
Exactly, because we had the puzzles and the adventure and all that to sort of, it was more of a buffet, whereas a game like Devil May Cry is really more the main course is that combat.
For sure.
But it's funny, we get a lot of credit along with Resident Evil 4 for really kind of inventing the quick time event, which is sort of I think what you're talking about. But we actually
you guys didn't overdo it though.
Well, I get people say we have in future in games that came after, but we actually, I was playing a Hulk game. I want to say it was from Ritual. And that was the first time I had seen, basically you could reach out with the circle button as the Hulk and you could grab somebody and then you could branch from that to a number of different moves. And I hadn't really seen much of that in the action adventure genre. And so that's sort of where we lifted it from. Yeah. But we just, executed it a little differently and people seem to attribute it to us, but it was there before we were there. So anyway.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Rad.
No, I mean, you see it in stuff like I just played and beat The Wolf Among Us. The entire game is very,
a lot of QTEs,
and that Uncharted, obviously, and there's a lot of that in there. But I don't know, like it just made me feel it just full blown fun. Like it was just fun.
Yeah,
and that's.
Dude, if you're going to talk about fun, Twisted Metal as well.
Oh, dude.
Insane amounts of fun.
Blowing up your buddies.
Yeah.
On behalf of all the people who made that, I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so are we done with the ass kissing part of our show?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Besides, we had questions.
Ask questions. I don't have the patience.
We won't get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit. We want to talk about Drawn to Death a little bit first.
Our fans freaked out. Well, your fans too.
Yeah.
On the show. I mean, we had so many good responses. So there's going to be more ass kissing.
Does it feel weird to you to say, like, unless I've never, like, I know people who make barely viewed YouTube videos and they'll say my fans, not my fans, but their fans.
Yeah.
I
don't like the word fans.
I don't like
the word fans. These are like
our players, our viewers.
Right.
Okay. Thank
because
you.
It's like, hey, these guys love us.
Unless you are, at a level, right? If you're Jay-Z, he has fans. If you're Steven Spielberg, he has fans. But the idea that somebody, the person I'm thinking of, there's like somebody who makes videos that nobody watches, but this person will be like, oh yeah, 3 of my fans. What are you talking about?
I'm copying and pasting this in my next interview meeting with the record label because they get mad when I don't say fans. They don't get mad, but they say, hey, like, you need to address your fans more. You need to and I'm like, they're just
friends though that I meet at shows.
They're-
in my
yeah,
opinion.
they're
Yeah,
people,
I mean,
Yeah.
there. I mean,
We
I'm,
like
I'm
the
not
same
saying
thing. We
I have
talk
no
about the same
problem
stuff.
with the name with the word fan. I just think
Yeah.
it's kind of like artists when they call musicians artists. Are there some musicians that are artists? Absolutely, but Britney Spears not an artist, right? And you'll
She's
see
a
her.
performance
She's a
artist.
she's a performer or she's an entertainer. Right,
Yeah,
but an
yeah.
artist implies that you're someone who basically has something to express or say or contribute
Yeah.
to the
How do you know
discourse.
what Britney's expressing?
Well,
though?
because I've seen her. I mean, I in Britney Spears, my kids don't even know who she is. I know she's not relevant
they
anymore.
never
But
do, yeah.
that was where the switch clicked in my brain or flipped in my brain, which is I was watching her on MTV a while ago, and she was like, "Oh, well, you know, I'm an artist," and I'm just like, it's like the fucking sound of the brakes, like, wait, what the fuck did you
The
just
record
say?
stops.
You know,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that. Like, I love pop music. Like, I could
Oh,
look at
yeah.
someone like Lady Gaga and say, okay, she's probably an artist. I look at somebody like Taylor Swift who writes her own music, plays her
Yeah.
instruments. She's definitely expressing something. But
All those boyfriends,
you know,
yeah.
so it's like fans and artists. I think both of those are great words, but they've become so cheap that I think they need to be earned.
Preach it,
That's-
yeah, you know.
Preach it,
I think
man.
that's
right.
That's part of like narcissist generation stuff.
Yeah.
Where people are like, yeah, people love me,
Well, it's the
obviously.
me generation for sure. with,
Yeah,
like Facebook
absolutely.
And Instagram and everything.
There are people where I'm like, yeah, you can be a narcissist, you've totally earned it. But there's a lot of people that like the 10 view YouTube video people
Right.
that are like my fans. It's like you don't have fans yet. You have
Right.
people that stumbled upon your video and probably closed it after 20 seconds.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
so yeah.
Anyway,
It's just,
not
This is
to, not to
turning
derail
Damn
us.
kids.
So introspective.
Yes.
We just sound like a bunch of grumpy old men.
yeah, right. I'm not even in my 30s yet, and I'm grumpy as
You
hell.
don't deserve to use fans unless people have tattoos of you, right? That should be the
That should be the rule.
Yeah. So I will say Twisted Metal has fans. God of War has fans because I've seen tattoos.
Yeah.
There's
I've
no David Jaffe fan.
No one's done a David Jaffe
tattoos.
tattoo yet. When that happens, then I will own.
Gabe will tattoo anything on his body,
I got-
so he will
That's
get your
Captain
face.
America shield. What do you got? You got a stormtrooper?
I got.
He's got
Oh, it's a skull, Captain America shield. Wait, who's on the bottom?
It's a stormtrooper done.
Oh,
on,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Boba Fett's helmet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Done, like kind of like a Roman.
Very cool.
That's
I
cool,
got
but
some
then
Offspring. I got
but
Aquaman
then-
Trio, the Misfits,
Nice.
Blink 182, AFI,
wait, don't go
Sonic
further.
the Hedgehog.
yeah, he's getting deep.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
And then between my balls
but
and taint,
Final
I
yeah.
have.
Fantasy. I got Final Fantasy Tactics.
I was gonna say I saw Sonic, but I didn't know who was with Sonic, and it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, we don't need to know.
We're getting a little high
It
up
gets
there.
crazy.
Yeah.
The Legion of Doom is like right about here. So.
Legion of Doom.
The Legion
says
of
something.
Doom. And,
You know you found the right woman when you bring out the Legion of Doom,
Hey, baby.
and she's not only excited, but she gets the reference. She's
Yeah.
just like, you know.
She's like, I wore my Lex Luthor outfit. Like, that's right. This.
That is the sexiest cosplay a lady could do is Lex Luthor.
Really?
Definitely. No, that's a total joke. That would be horrific.
I mean,
Put
that's
my
okay.
bald
Dan's
cap
middle
on.
Yeah.
name is like.
Who do you
sarcasm.
think the sex? Okay, who do, who do you think the sexiest cosplay DC villain could be? Let's all think.
DC
Well,
villain.
DC villain.
There's an
That's-
obvious one.
That's my expertise, by the way.
Well, who's a female? Well, it doesn't have to be female, but I mean,
Oh yeah, DC.
okay.
Oh wait, so it has to be a male character that a female is dressing as.
No,
'Cause Harley Quinn,
Oh, no,
Harley
sorry.
Quinn is like
I was saying the sex. Okay, so the sexiest female character who's a villain that would be cosplayed from the DC universe is what I'm
Harley
saying.
Quinn, easy.
No.
I don't think Harley Quinn.
No,
I
no.
I
like
think-
the one in Suicide Squad. That
Yeah.
she's really sexy.
Sure,
But
yeah.
in the comics, she's just. Can you imagine being with somebody who talks like this? I mean, come on.
See, are they like acting out the character too, or just dressed as?
That's different. You're right.
yeah,
You're right,
just
you're
dressed
right.
as. I'm all
okay.
aboard. But talking like and like playing the character.
It's like, oh fuck me, Mr. J. I was like, no, I'm done.
What about you?
Oh my god. So I'm more of a Marvel guy, but DC, DC, I would say
Forgivable. It's forgivable.
it's what?
It's forgivable.
Shut
no,
up,
I'm just
Gabe.
kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm with you there.
Well, look,
David.
we can look.
It's on the list of DC.
Of DC female villain. Well, you know who I love from DC that I don't care if she's not real. I love Zatanna, which I know she's not a villain, but I think she's super
That's what
hot.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, she's. I love Zatanna.
I don't even know this character.
She's the magician. She wears the top hat.
Her and Bruce Wayne have like a
She's
really
like a sexy Doctor
Okay.
Strange kind of thing.
I'm getting flashes
She's like
of it.
borderline immortal, kind of sort. Like no one really knows.
There's a
pretty
great
hot.
comic,
really cool.
and you guys are comic people, right?
Yeah.
So like Justice League Dark, have you read that?
Dude.
That is the shit, right? That is Nick reads a lot of stuff, but it's like he'll bring shit in that I'm like, what is that, right? I mean, Monty's looking up Zatanna now.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, she's great.
Sure. All right.
She looks like she work at Magic Castle. Or
Even in the
something.
Batman animated series.
I never watched that. That was the Tim's, not Tim's story.
Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm did
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
she's great in that, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's keep talking about sexy cartoons, guys.
So wait, Nick didn't get to go.
Oh, I can't think of what are some other DC villain females. I can't.
Man,
nothing's-
There's like a
other than
cheetah.
Harley
There's the
Quinn.
cheetah woman that fights Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Chitara.
Chitara. She's kind of okay. I mean, she's a
think it would
cheetah.
have- I mean,
She's
just
cool, but
Harley
she
Quinn
gets
probably
big
as
so
well.
fast, and it's kind of
Yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Like,
It is
I'm
a
all
little.
about power to the women stuff.
Yeah.
It's just
No, but
like,
she physically.
She gets
she's
yoked.
like Giant
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just
It would have to be Harley Quinn.
Okay.
I mean, that one just pops.
Harley Quinn for sure.
I feel like Catwoman's like overdone. But
Yeah, I don't
like,
get. No. Yeah. I'm not-
Yeah.
No.
But Poison
Poison
Ivy
Ivy's pretty good.
Yeah.
Poison
yeah.
Ivy's pretty good.
When Supergirl goes bad, when she
Supergirl.
gets red kryptonite, and she goes evil.
Look, I'm gonna tell you something.
Dude.
I don't have any problem. I'm 44 fucking years old, and I used to watch Glee when it was on, and I even like the new fucking kids on Glee. And the girl who is now Supergirl, I thought I followed her on Twitter before I knew who she was, because I was like, she's hot. And now she's Supergirl. Oh, that's so awesome. That's creepy because she's like young, and I'm 44, but I don't care. She's still hot. She's still hot.
18, man.
Well, she's older than 18, but you know.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean.
He's a
It's just
grown
like-
ass man.
I know. I can't help it. I mean, I can help it. Not like I'm gonna stalk the woman, but I'm just saying she was just so appealing, and I love that they cast her as Supergirl. But
She
yeah,
actually watches our
Supergirl.
show religiously.
Does she really? Good. Anyway,
She's
so
our biggest fan. Yeah.
that's right.
She has a tattoo of you, actually.
Oh my God.
Oh, God. Wouldn't that be
Can
great?
you imagine? Then I would know I'm living in the
would you do?
Matrix. I would leave right now and go find her. And, I mean, what do you mean? It'd be great.
Come on. That's an obvious
All
one.
right. Drawn to Death.
Okay.
Drawn to Death.
Let's talk about. Tell us like the elevator pitch for Drawn to Death for viewers that have
Drawn to
no
Death
idea what
is
it
a third-person multiplayer only, at the moment anyway, competitive shooter that takes place primarily inside the notebook pages of sort of a very creative, a little bit dark, a little bit funny high school student who's stuck in detention. So basically the entire game takes place inside his notebook with all of his drawings and doodles and weird landscapes that he's drawn, influences from his real life where he's just dealing with normal teenage problems, fighting parents, a girlfriend, a guy who's picking on him and stuff.
Yeah.
All the way to sort of much more fantastic stuff that he just kind of comes from his twisted imagination. So it's a whole universe we're building. We'd love, it goes, we'd love to one day tell some really cool stories in there, even in the multiplayer only game that's coming out soonish. We have a lot of story elements built into the environment. So if observant players who are really into the game can learn about the kid, learn about the characters and stuff. But at its heart, though, it really is trying to be a cross between sort of old school arena shooters like Quake and Unreal Tournament with Super Smash Brothers. So characters and characters' abilities are really important and really special. We've limited the battlefield to only 4 players because we didn't want to make another shooter as great as they are that's just sort of like take a few steps and die. We really wanted it to be more of a longer relationship between players where you could learn their pros and cons and strategies and ins and outs.
Less of a cluster F.
Yeah. So if you look at games like Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart Battle Mode, Power Stone, Unreal Tournament, Quake Arena, Super Smash Brothers, those are all the sort of the influences of the game. So that's a long elevator ride we just took, but that's
up to the penthouse. Yeah,
that's right. But that's the concept.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how far into development are you guys right now? I know you said soonish.
Yeah.
And I know you can't say any dates, obviously.
We've been doing it for a while though, right?
Yeah,
So-
like 2.5 years or so in production,
Nice.
and we had like 9 or 10 months to prototype.
Yeah.
So how far we are? I mean, it's a free to play game, so the hope is
Service.
it just
That is
a
awesome.
service. Yeah,
I read
so,
that and I was like, dude, I
Yeah.
love that.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we're so it was really interesting. We were working with Sony and Sony PlayStation, and we took the game around to a number of people, and there were a number of people that were interested in publishing it and working with us. But I've worked with Sony for all my career.
Yeah.
And Nick was at Sony for a long time as well. And so for us, the idea of not just working with them because we knew that they are a great team to work with in terms of producing games, whether you're talking about Uncharted or a small indie game on PSN, They get games. Shuhei, who runs the whole operation, loves games, plays more games than probably all 4 of us combined.
Yeah.
But also their vision for free to play matched up with our vision for free to play, which is, I hate free to play. I fucking hate free to play.
Go on,
as
yeah.
it has been done. I hate
The freemium.
I hate paying to win.
Yeah.
I hate. Nick's phrase that he coined, which I loved, was sort of like our business model is pay for awesome, right?
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
can basically play the game, you can earn virtual currency, you can buy currency and unlock cool things that are fun to play with, but the actual competitive nature of the game is
Not affected by that?
No, even if we were making a retail game, like in Call of Duty, you know how you can like level up and you get more powerful
Better
because
guns,
you get
yeah.
we don't even do that. So the
Good.
guns that you get at level 1 and the guns that you get at level 20 that are no different. There's no gates on the guns based on level. So if you jump into a game and you're playing it for the first time and you've been playing it for a year, you're going to be better as a player, but
Yeah.
your actual machine gun that you pick up or you buy from the store is no better than yours, and you just played it for the first time. So for us, it's Sony and us really had a really good meeting in the minds about if free to play is going to work. For us, it has to work that way. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Well, maybe we'll package the game up and do something else with it, or who knows what will happen. But we can't. None of us want to make a pay-to-win game.
It's really cool that the publisher's cool with that.
Yeah,
because
that
they
was-
want to make money, obviously.
Well, we do too. But the theory is that we'll make money, especially on console where free-to-play is still kind of nascent. We'll make money because we're giving the players something they actually, at least that we think they want.
They
And we're treating them with a
definitely want
level
it,
of
yeah.
respect, which is, look, we want to entertain you and we want you to keep coming back and playing.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully some of y'all will help support the game because you want to, not because you're helping. I've always had a problem with that too. It's like, oh, free to play. Oh, I'm going to support the developer. That's not the consumer's job to support us. Their job is to buy shit they think is cool.
Yeah.
And if they buy it and it happens to support us, then we're happy, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if we're only making money because the only way to win the game is to pay for a really cool gun, then none of us here want to be doing anything like that. So,
yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Do you guys have plans for single-player content in the future? And what do you see that it being if you do?
Yeah, I mean, we did it initially, but just, as we were focusing on the core of the game and making that experience awesome, we kind of narrowed our focus just to the 4-player multiplayer and team mode. So, yeah, I mean, the intent and the want is there, but currently, as far as launch goes, there's no plans for it. But we would love to. And like David was saying, I mean, we've tried to infuse at least some of the story indirectly into the levels and into the characters and stuff like that. But as far as like a very straightforward campaign or single player, no, there's currently no plan for it other than we want to.
We want to do it, but it depends how successful the brand is. If people,
Right.
if it comes out and people dig it, then hopefully we can do it. But if it comes up and we're like, fuck this, I guess not.
Get 7 downloads, yeah.
That's right. Oh man.
What's the response you guys are getting so far from? There's like closed beta stuff going on right now, right?
We had a closed, not even beta. Let me just get on a soapbox for a moment.
Oh
'cause-
my
Yeah,
God,
go
here we
for it.
So, well, no, I just because I hate beta has become it's become a marketing term for demo. And so when people hear the word beta, it's not a beta. It's a fucking marketing demo that they're calling a beta. Sometimes they will utilize some data that they get from that beta to figure out if their servers are ready to go with that big of a hit and things like that. But it's not a fucking beta, right? So for
I
us,
think pre-release alpha has taken over the
so
what
we
beta used to
basically
mean.
we have what we're calling a private access. We just did number 2, where we let a very select small group of people in. What do you think? Is it balanced right? What do you like? What don't you like? We're going to do another private access in November. If you're interested, go to drawingtodeath.com. You can sign up for it.
There will be a link right here.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then we're hoping to launch. I can't say the dates when, but we'll launch after that the game hopefully. So far from private access 2. I think it's been really positive, right? I mean, we've seen it's been cool that it's kind of coincided with the Sony Share software on PS4. So a lot of people have been uploading YouTube videos now. A lot of people have been Twitching it live.
Rad.
And that's been really cool to sort of watch just a little baby community, but they're a passionate community. And that's been really fun to get to know those people and get their feedback and advice and making the game sort of better. And it's been really, I've always said it's like, we're not short order cooks. It's not like the community says make this and we make this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it has been really cool to watch sort of our visions slowly start to become a collective vision where it's like, you know what, that guy's got a good idea. Let's work.
You're
with
not
that,
you're not making him a whole meal. It's like this needs more salt.
It's,
You
yeah,
sprinkle a bit on.
exactly.
that
So the
analogy.
core was yours.
Well, I took it from.
I know,
him.
but you just pointed at
we
me.
shared it.
It's like don't fucking. You know what I
We
hate?
shared that
You know what I hate?
You.
I know I don't hate you, but I hate when famous people take a picture with you and then they point at you in the picture like you're the fucking celebrity.
Oh,
It's like,
God.
don't fucking do that. I took a picture with Kevin Smith. Love Kevin Smith. Big
Yeah.
Kevin Smith man. Don't fucking point at me like you're grateful to be here with me. You don't know who the fuck I am. I'm taking it with you, motherfucker.
Just trying to make you feel good.
Don't
man.
do
Just
that.
trying
I
to, like,
don't do
power
that.
you up, like,
No, I hate that shit. I hate that shit.
Yeah,
I
right.
like genuine shit. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think he's
David's real
trying to be genuine, but he just doesn't know how to do it anymore.
I don't know.
It's been too
I
long.
think
he's
people are
stoned
afraid
all
of
the time.
being-
That's probably
That's
what it
true,
is.
yeah.
I think people are like afraid of becoming that asshole too. I know.
Yeah,
that, like,
I can see
that's-
that.
So they try extra hard not to be an asshole by like pointing at fans and stuff.
Yeah, you know, like
This
let's,
guy's
let's
rad.
Remind, let's
Yeah.
remind people that I don't think I'm above them or something. And I think that's a battle you just can't win because
you
you
can't.
just gotta be should be
Just
real.
be you, yeah.
Just be real.
You know, it'd be cool if they're like, all right, in this picture, you point at me. If
Yeah.
Kevin Smith is like, point at me, dude, point at me.
You know what's interesting?
pointing.
Is I think I recently, Louis C.K., I heard an interview of someone who had talked to him about this exact case.
Oh, really? The
instead
pointing?
of, or even just being in photos with people. But he's like, look, I'm not going to take a photo with you, but I'll give you 5 minutes of my time to talk with you. And almost no one does it.
I would
'cause they just
vastly
want the
prefer that.
photo. That's so crazy.
The photos, like,
someone
my
else-
friends need to know that I met
Yeah,
this
yeah.
person or that I touched inner bodies with them. Yeah, like.
I want to say it was Warren Beatty, which people, who the fuck's Warren Beatty? I know. But there was a documentary Madonna did, and Warren Beatty, she was dating at the time. He was an actor,
Oh,
if you
yeah,
don't
it
know.
was,
Yeah.
Truth or Dare.
yeah, Truth or Dare.
But she had talked about how people he would never give autographs, but he would be like, look, I acknowledge you, I see you, I appreciate, because that's what, if you're a real fan,
Yeah,
I think that's what you
want.
want. You want that connection. It's like, I saw something with, I think it was Kanye West, where he was like leaving the airport and somebody was trying to get him to sign something, and he just laid into the guy. And I don't know if it was because he was on having one of his asshole days, which he can do, or if it was because you never know when you sign an autograph. It's like, well, is this for you,
Yeah,
or are
you're
you going to sell
selling it.
this
Yeah.
or whatever? So I get
Yeah.
why somebody
No,
would say,
yeah,
no, let's just
totally.
talk.
A good buddy of mine, I know I've told you this story before, but I grew up with him. He's pretty much like extended family, and so I hear a lot of crazy stories that he tells me. He's a pitcher for the Rangers.
Oh, you're telling me about this dude, yeah.
And dude, every a lot of my family goes out and they visit him sometimes. And there was one time where they went out there to visit him, and he has to go to restaurants after hours.
Oh,
his
wow.
favorite restaurants, and he pays them extra. He said, "Look, I'll pay you extra. Just like stay open an extra hour," because he just gets hounded.
Right.
Someone saw him through the window when my buddy was out there visiting. It's his cousin, and so by the time they were done eating, there was just a mob of people outside.
wow.
And so he's like, "Hey, you guys just
East
want to
Coast
take
fans,
a
yeah.
taxi, and I'll meet you back at the house." And he was in there, and they're like, "No, we'll just wait in the car. It's all good." They were waiting in the car for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And he signed everybody's
cool.
autograph. People were calling because like, "Oh my gosh, Cole Hamels is here. Come down and get an autograph." And everyone was calling. And he got back in the car, and my buddy's like, "Dude, why do you do that?" It's his cousin. He's like, "Dude, why do you put up with that?" He's like, "These guys gave me this life.
Sure.
The least I can do is give them a bit of my time. Like,
Yeah.
at the very least, Like,
Absolutely.
he's like, I wish I could give them more, but this is after a game. He's exhausted. It's like 2 a.m.
I will tell. Well, no, I won't. But anyway, the point is, I hear you.
Come on,
I acknowledge
Dish.
you. I know what you're saying. Yeah, but no, yeah, that's nice. That's wonderful that he has that attitude. That's great. That's
cool.
That's really good.
Yeah. Okay, Twitter question time. If you guys can't tell, this is a super nice desk that we had installed just for this. First question is from one of our favorites, actually, Curseborn Saga. We love those dudes. Do you guys see VR as technology that could be taking off in the console gaming world, or is it just a flash in the pan, like Sony? Oh, like Sony Move. I don't know if I would say Sony Move is a flash in the pan. A lot of people were into it. I feel like.
In the pan,
No, yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. So they're asking VR technology. You think it's actually going to be a thing?
What's
You
your
look like
what's your
you're-
experience with it so far?
I know.
That look like
That look was awesome.
Well, I'm responding. On one hand, I'm responding to the Move thing because look, the Move I wasn't at Sony when the Move came out. I can tell you that I don't believe it was like some massive performer.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, it was really cool technology. It was better than the Wii and stuff
that's,
like
that's sometimes how it needs to happen. I think people forget that. It's like, oh, LED's lame. It's like, well, that led to other stuff.
Yeah.
Virtual Boy.
No.
Was
Yeah.
a total
Virtual
flop.
Boy.
Right.
But
That's right.
how much
Handheld.
did we learn from
Now we
But
have
let
awesome
me
handheld
fucking
gaming.
tell you about VR. Okay.
Oh, I can't wait.
So John Ross, who's one of our programmers here, my kids were saying to me, okay, I don't know where to start. I fucking love VR.
Me too.
I love it. It is game changing. It is life changing. I am just now finishing reading Ready Player One. I don't know if you guys have read that. It's a phenomenal
I have not.
book.
It is on my list.
But the whole thing is set for the most part inside virtual reality. And I read that, and after playing with the Oculus and playing with Google VR, which is like, you're kidding me. No, fucking Google VR is amazing if you have the right application. I have my fucking phone in there. I didn't want to come out. I was in my house spinning around the living room in this cathedral somebody had built, and wherever I looked is where I would walk. And it was like the 10-year-old inside of me was having his dreams come true, because all I ever wanted as a kid was to like live in Dungeons and Dragons and be in that world. And now I was able to walk, and I went down steps, and there was light shining in, and I through the stained glass windows, and then I looked down at books on the table, and I could read the maps on the table, like these old Tolkien like maps and shit. And I was there. Right?
Shout out this app real quick. What was it called?
It's called InVR. It's basically people can upload whatever databases they want.
He
That's
was talking
tight.
about that.
Yeah.
We had E. McNeil on the show.
Okay.
From Oculus Rift, like a few episodes back.
Yeah.
I think he was talking about that too.
And yeah, there's a bunch of them on there, and a lot of them are crap, right? But this one called Cathedral.
Because it's all indie stuff, right? That people
You just upload,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And and the only thing I had done in VR before that was the Oculus Rift about 3 years ago doing Hawken, which was also like, holy shit. I was in a cockpit, and I stood up, and I'm like, I turned around, and the background was modeled, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like being there. So I love it. I love it. Now,
Sign me up.
when people say, like the question is like, is it a flash? That's a different question. Are people going to be able to afford it? Are the games, whether you're talking about PlayStation VR, you're talking about Oculus, you're talking about Google Cardboard, I don't fucking know that. I know that the minute I put on the Google Cardboard thing, and I hear the one from Valve is amazing.
I hear that too.
The minute I put that on, I was like, you know what? The next thing I work on, I would love for it to be VR. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one has signed us. We haven't done a design or anything, but I fell in love with it, and I think it's wonderful. I don't know if it's going to be successful or not. That has more to do with market conditions and pricing and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the shit. So.
Do you guys think that graphically it still needs a ways to go?
No.
Because every time
really
the
do
only
think
ones
it
I ever
does.
see are the ones I've tried, like the Morpheus. There's always a little bit of pixelation that doesn't make it feel next gen.
Okay, yes, but that's anything, right? I mean, that's like saying I'm not going to play Uncharted 4 because it's not exactly photoreal yet, right? I mean, for me, if you can get immersed in a game like Minecraft, you can get immersed in a game where you see some pixels. I mean, that may not be for everybody, but for me, no, I don't care. I mean,
I'm gameplay. I'm always gameplay over graphics.
For me, the experience is
Always.
still just a little lacking. One thing I don't like about the VR is your window of view. It's like this big, but if you look away from this small area, then things get out of focus around the edge of your vision.
Right.
But not
That
all of
bugs
them are
me.
like that though.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
even with Google Cardboard, I didn't notice that.
I've only used which is the one I
We
used?
The Samsung package with the Oculus.
Yeah.
Over it.
That's the only one I've used.
Okay.
That's new. One of the
You
recent
can
ones
literally
I've
go
used.
on Amazon and get Google Cardboard for $3.99 and put your fucking smartphone in it.
Yeah.
And it is as compelling as Oculus Rift.
Tight.
I mean, it's how fucking crazy is that?
It's insane.
Yeah.
We
but-
just had Cosplay Dreams on last week, and they were showing us that they film with a 3D camera at some of their events. So you can actually go to their events and just
You can
be
put
in
on-
their
If you
world.
go
It's
on
so
Google,
cool.
I hate to just go on about this. I just love it.
No,
so
it's
much.
cool,
If you
yeah.
go on to Google VR on the App Store, you can download stuff like that. Like I think it was like Jack White did a concert, and it was 360.
Absolutely.
Right? And then
Yeah, Beck did one too. It was cool.
and
Yeah.
then, Guillermo del Toro did For Crimson Peak, it's actually I don't think it's CG, but like the cathedral thing I'm talking about looks like it was like made in Unreal 4 or something.
Yeah.
But this thing for Crimson Peak looks like it might have been 3D from Sets the movie. So you're basically moving down the hallway.
Oh, that is
and
tight.
that's photoreal because you're looking at footage.
Yeah.
So it looks photoreal. Maybe it's not, but it looks photoreal. So it's the shit. I love it.
I love
can't
VR
wait.
too.
I can't wait for it to come out. I will never leave.
No, that's the one thing I was afraid of too. Is I was like,
I'm not
I hope-
afraid of that. I want
I
that.
was afraid that like I would get like the motion sickness and all that stuff. I was like, I'm afraid I'm
Yeah.
gonna feel that way because I don't want to take it off.
No,
I
don't.
I want to be in
There's
there.
there's a roller coaster one that is pretty legit feeling. You remember how
Yeah.
you like back in the day you go to the mall and there'd be like the big van looking thing that
Oh,
was
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know
Get in
pay
this
$5
weird
bucks
van
get in
thing,
there
it'll
and like
toss
you're
you
on a roller
around.
coaster.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but at home it's amazing.
I'm down.
There was a game I don't know if you guys heard of it called Elite Dangerous that came out in December.
Elite Dangerous.
Elite Dangerous, where you're basically in a
It's like-
spaceship.
It's like a
That's
Star
already
Citizen.
out?
It's already out.
I
It's
think
on
it's
PC.
like a pre-release thing.
No, it's on PC.
Is
It's
it?
going to come out on Xbox. Well, sorry, but it will come out on Xbox eventually,
We can put a bleep there if we
really
need
soon. But I mean, I've played it. I played at my old job, and we had a Oculus Rift, and you put that thing on, and it's like you're dogfighting with a spaceship,
God,
and like if he
dude.
flies over your shoulder, you look over your shoulder, and you see him, and then you turn your ship that way. And I've just read
love
that
that.
people will like play that for hours and hours, and like there's a whole lot of like exploration in space type stuff. So they'll put on like podcasts, and they'll go
Yeah.
like 8-10 hours just cruising around the Milky Way and
My
stuff like
record
that.
is I think an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
being in.
I did two different things. I played Dread Halls, beat.
I heard you got scared of that game and took it off after 4 minutes.
That's the other one.
The scary one?
Yeah.
The one in the
That lasted
hospital?
The longest. What are you talking about?
I lasted the longest, dude.
No. Anyways, Dread Halls. I did the underwater like excavation.
Oh yeah,
thing.
like
That
the
one was
sea
really
exploration one. Yeah.
And then I did an experience. So I played 2 games.
The
and I did an
SNL experience, right?
Oh, that's right. I did that too. Okay,
Yeah.
4 things. Yeah.
That's cool.
So SNL thing is awesome, man.
What is it?
The SNL experience was this kind of marketing thing that Saturday Night Live did for the 40th anniversary.
Okay.
And so they filmed the 40th anniversary episode in 3D. So
With
you're
like
sitting in the
a camera
audience,
in one of the
like,
chairs.
right next to Adam Sandler. You look over here, like Sarah Palin's over there. What's his face from Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh, you're in
Larry
the
David.
audience?
Larry
Like,
David,
you're in
yeah.
the
And they're
audience.
like
Yeah.
You can
also
do
in the
whatever-
audience?
Lorne Michaels is like freaking out in the background.
Yeah, you can look behind you. You
Awesome.
can look behind you and you can see the halls in the back with people running around with
And that's on
signs and-
Oculus. You can get that
It's
on
on
Oculus.
Rift,
That's
yeah.
fucking
It's on the
great.
Samsung
Yeah.
experience.
We got to get one in here.
Yeah, we should
Do
get
it.
one.
Anybody has
Sony,
productivity
send us
would
one.
go
Anybody has
down.
a phone, you can just commandeer their Samsung phone.
Okay.
For the time.
I think it's
You
like
can
Note
download it.
4 and later. Maybe Note
Yeah.
3 you can do it with. Yeah.
Okay.
It's 4. I think it's 4 and
Yeah.
later. Yeah, it's so
That's
cool.
awesome.
The SNL thing was so cool, and you like the cue cards. I mean, you know this stuff happens, obviously.
You don't
Yeah,
see
but
it,
just
yeah.
seeing it, like they're like ducking under cameras, and they're like everyone's panicked. Like Lorne Michaels is literally like just stressed out. Looks like he's about to just have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And the security guards are back. Like it's so cool. It's
The
amazing.
Imagine what it will be like when we get like 360 periscope. Right? Because I
Dude.
mean,
It's like
then,
Minority Report.
then
dude.
you're
Like,
fucking
that's
in
happening.
that
It's,
world.
like, happening
You know,
right
yeah,
now.
it's wild.
That's
I
wonderful.
love it. All right, moving on here. This is from at Karate Jenny Gotcha. Or Gotia.
Gotcha.
First off, super fangirl over here. Thank you for all your incredible work. In an interview for Drawn to Death, you, David, said that skill should be the only determining factor. Do you enjoy making games that are for more experienced gamers, or do you have the urge to create a game that someone with no history of gaming could get into?
That's a pretty decent
Yeah,
question.
I mean, I don't think one negates the other. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, there are those games that people talk about. It's a cliche, but it's always nice if you can pull off a game that's easy to learn, hard to master. But
Angry Birds.
well, yeah, I mean,
that a joke?
anybody,
a
anybody,
joke,
can,
right?
yeah, no, I mean, anybody. Look, I nominated Angry Birds for Game of the Year back when I was doing Dice Award stuff because I mean, a game that was like the biggest game since Pac-Man in terms of just culturally. But but no, I mean, so that's great when you get both. But like Drawn to Death is very specifically a core gamer game.
Yeah.
It's meant to be that. I wanted to make something with the team that was. That was really game mechanic centric. As I get more into board games and card games and digital card games like Hearthstone and things like that, I really, the older I get and the more I do it, the more I just fall in love with play mechanics. And so Drawn to Death was really about, looking at games that way. But absolutely, like if we do the VR thing, for example, or the next thing I'd like to be involved with would be more of a not a casual game, but more of a narrative game or a story-based game. And those, I think, tend to make more sense when they're more inclusive.
Yeah.
But I think Drawn to Death, part of what gives Drawn to Death, like it, love it, hate it, a big part of its voice is it's mechanically rich. And so if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into learning mechanics and pros and cons, and this character can beat this character if you do a certain thing, to an extent, then I think then that's what Drawn to Death's about. And so that's the spot that I really like being in right now. But I think you can go all over the place. I don't think anybody looks at God of War and says, oh, it's conceptually core, but mechanically it's probably the easiest game I've worked on in terms of anyone can pick it up and mash buttons and just go.
Yeah.
So
then you put it on hard mode.
That's different.
You have the real
challenge.
Yeah. And also with, I'm sure, Drawn to Death, there will be a matchmaking system where if you're not insanely good, you'll be playing other people that are also not insanely good.
Of course.
So it's not like exclusive or
no. I mean the whole we want to turn people into core gamers through it. But I think it would be disingenuous and just marketing if I was to tell you, no, anybody can play. No, look, if you're not into fast-paced shooters that use a lot of buttons and shit like that, it's probably not going to be for you. So people who are, I mean, I love like I love Journey and Flower and sort of, artistic games.
Journey again the other day.
So there are players who kind of go both, but some players are either just core or just kind of more casual. And so.
Yeah. And there's ways to play those simpler games as more of a core gamer. Like, I'm going to get every single thing in this game.
That's true. That's true.
So with this game being free to play, we definitely want to, obviously, as David says, it's going to cater to the hardcore people who want to Twitch mechanic, play something that reminds them of Unreal or Quake or something like that. But it's free to play, so we want people to be able to enjoy it. And there's so many fun gags and just like really wacky weapons and just interesting mechanics that like. If you are playing for the first time, there's going to be a matchmaking with other novices, and since Time to Kill isn't as short as it is in other games, you will have fun just running around shooting each other and getting to know weapons, and that's kind of like how we want to kind of build that awareness and build that kind of interest among people who are going to just play for the first time. They're going to see the weapons, and hopefully they're not just going to get in there and just get wrecked like immediately. Like right now we have public access with like maybe a couple dozen people who are playing all the time, and if I go in there, I'm just gone. I get shredded. Like I can get on a lucky streak here and there, but these people are obviously skilled shooters. They're skilled at shooters. So I mean, we're obviously going to. If it's one or the other, we're going to go towards the side of being more skill based. But at the same time, there's just so much stuff going on that anyone can pick it up and have a good time the first time out.
Rad. Yeah. What are some of your
tutorial and all that?
And there's tutorial, yeah.
Good. What are some of your favorite like wacky elements of the game, like weapons, mechanics, any of that stuff?
So much stuff. I mean, we have a lot, and it's the newest one we're working on. So a week ago it would have been something different. What we're working on right now, which I love this weapon. So we have an RPG in the game. Yeah. And then we said, well, let's make a JRPG. And so the JRPG is a weapon. That you're basically just wandering around with a game console on your shoulder with a Japanese role-playing game stuck in it. And
like Dragon Quest VII shoots out of it or something?
Shoots out, and then it explodes, and there's just all these pixels and little tropes from JRPGs. Like the little orphan who had to leave his village, and critical hit comes up. And, and so...
That's the kind of shit that goes on here.
And the best part is... I love that it's in the store where you can go to rent or buy weapons, and it's like it's like RPG and then JRPG right next to each other. So awesome. So I mean that's one of the ones that we're working on right now. So it's cool because the setting of the game is really whatever is in this kid's imagination, and so everything sort of there's a cohesion about it by the nature of sort of the art style holding it together and the theme holding it together, which is it's just whatever he draws. Yeah, and that's cool too for us because I really enjoy shooters, but a lot of shooters lately have been very military or future military, and so they're sort of tied to a set of rules in order to keep that fiction. Yeah. And it's nice to be able to kind of, we want to do a pirate ship level. Cool. We did a pirate ship level. We want to do a level set inside, the dead body of a frog that the kid's dissecting in high school. We're doing that level, right? So that's been really fun to have those limits removed creatively.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. All right, thank you for that one, Karate Jenny. All right, next one is from @_Brycey, and I know we talked about people who have underscores at the beginning of their names. Not a fan.
They're underscores.
Just kidding,
Love you, Brycey.
Yeah. Yeah, I love you too, Brycey. Question is, as people who have worked so close to Sony, do they plan on developing ports or original titles for the Sony Vita, which is the greatest handheld system? So basically, do you think they'll port Drawn to Death to Vita at any point?
I mean, we have no plans to.
Yeah.
I would be
I don't know
shocked
yeah.
if we did.
The platform would work for it, I feel like. To an extent,
you know, sure, but I think it really just comes down to resources and
is it worth the time? Yeah.
If somebody came to us and said, "Okay, you guys can make a game for Vita, or you can make it for PlayStation VR," I'd be like,
"Oh,
I love you, Vita, but I'm going over here to do work on PSVR." But no, I mean, but there's no plans for Vita right now for us, and that's, I mean, I hate, what a shitty answer for this guy or girl or underscore person who basically
poor underscore
who basically clearly loves his Vita or her Vita, because that's a shit. It's like, you want to hear more shit's coming, but you know, as somebody who owns a Vita, I mean, I don't, you know, I love handheld gaming. My 3DS is probably one of my favorite consoles of all time. But even the new 3DS though, they just came out and said Hyrule Warriors for 3DS is only for the new 3DS, and then the last Xeno is they can, if they really plan on making the new 3DS sort of going to be another 4 or 5 years of really great games. Okay. But they haven't announced much of anything. It just to me it feels like traditional handheld is a dead kind of thing.
I'm so stoked for Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Saying it's only going to be for
the new one.
All right,
yeah.
I get a new 3DS now.
I mean, I played it on the Wii U, and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't finish it. And that's the perfect game for a portable. You know, that you just pick up and play.
Dynasty Warriors and Legend of Zelda.
Oh, well,
Zelda.
there you go. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh man.
So, I mean, the Wii U I have loved. I know it kind of hasn't been that successful, but there's so many great Nintendo games for the Wii U.
Absolutely, man.
So anyway,
Mario Maker.
It's great. Mario Kart, Mario Maker, Smash Brothers.
The original creators of Mario be right now. You can just drop and click, you know, make Mario.
Okay. Sorry, Brycey. Oh, wait, no, this is a two-parter one.
Yeah.
Next part is, which DLOD song is their favorite? Implying that they've listened to any of your songs, Gabe. I mean, no offense, but...
Do you do any Taylor Swift covers?
He will now.
I'm just kidding.
Only Ryan Adams does Taylor Swift covers.
That's right.
And, yeah, would you guys be willing to daringly fight on stage with lasers and beam swords in costume?
Are you asking us or you that?
He knows I will do it.
Well, I would fucking fight with lasers and swords? Lasers and swords?
Like real...
But I mean, what do you...
I'll have to show you after the show.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, I'll fight it. Yeah, fuck
okay.
yeah.
But this is no bullshit. We had a meeting this morning, and I'll just be very vague about it. But basically, at one point, Jaffe was saying, "I'll wear the costume. Yeah, I'll put the costume on."
Yeah, I love shit like that.
I love it too.
Well, you heard it here first, right?
Yeah, that shit's awesome. But I don't know y'all's music, so I don't.
Okay.
What kind of music is it?
It's like
what's the analogy you always use? There's like two bands. It's
I use it because a newspaper used it, and I won't say which one. White Stripes meets Daft Punk, which I don't.
So White Punk.
I know Daft Punk more than White Stripes, so
that's not far off though.
Is it?
That's not far off. No.
He's a DJ. He would know.
Yeah, I know.
It's my own music.
So what is what are some of the themes? I mean, what do you?
It's nerd. Everything just nerdy.
Nerdy stuff.
My whole life into a band. I guess.
Video games, superheroes, epic space battles.
Do you do nerdy like Coheed and Cambria, where you have like your own like universe of nerd stuff going on, and they like write songs about it?
Graphic novel coming out. With
sweet!
Cool.
Nice.
I'd much rather listen to you than Coheed and Cambria, though.
Thanks, man. This is just turning into like a big love fest. You know, I'm down.
Well, I kissed some ass this way, and now I'm gonna send it over here.
Yeah. I'll show you some stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Rad. All right. So we're going to fight David Jaffe on stage with lasers and swords.
Nicholas.
So there is a question for Nick here, and we're sorry because he's on the phone with some important peeps right now, so we can't ask him. We'll say it right now, though, so if he watches this, hopefully he watches this episode, he will see that he's being showered with a little bit of praise. That's Nick, your eye for detail is incredible. I've been following your career since Resistance 2. First off, may I suggest DLOD doing the soundtrack to a game? That's a Nick question. We can't answer that right now. Stuff. Yeah. Thank you, hypothetical DLOD fan.
Thank you.
Second, I wanted to say that Drawn to Death looks amazing, and I know plenty of hardcore fans that are going to freak when that comes out. And I think
it's a great wrap up.
Yeah.
And I do think I can answer for Nick. So the answer would be yes.
People will freak.
No, the answer to his question.
Yeah. What was
He says, first of all, may I suggest DLOD doing a soundtrack for the game?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The
Okay.
answer is yes. Because
Verbal agreement. Yeah.
No, because the guy wrote a shitty question. Yes, you may suggest that.
Oh
Yes. You
Yes, go ahead and suggest.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean-
Suggest anything you want. It's the internet.
Suggestion box. Just kidding, you Nitro.
This is Nitro Space 92. You're our homie.
I'm not kidding at all.
All right. Thank you, David.
Thank you guys
Jaffe,
very much
for
coming
Thanks
on.
for coming. We appreciate
Thank you
talking.
for transforming into Nick.
Monty,
And
you go
Double.
first.
we always double handshake.
Double handshake?
That's new.
Unite the powers?
very
Whoa, dude, we're like the three
United
musketeers.
Sorry,
Benetton
you
of
guys
gaming.
should form of water and an animal. or
Water.
something.
I will be
Fire.
some sort of monkey.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely. Thank you for watching, guys.
Bye.
So this is Monty, and his special power is to be transformed into by other people. You saw him be transformed into by Nick earlier, and now Gabe just did it too.
Basically, I'm the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, but you have the ability to transform into different. You're like the man of many faces in Game of Thrones.
I'm the bride of many faces.
Nice. Well, how about
Do you want
this?
to do that again?
No, I want to do this right now.
Okay.
Will you marry me, Monty?
It's now legal. Sorry, Kim.
Thank you for watching, guys.
This has been the Digital Lizards of Doom show live at Meltdown.
Fuck you, Kim Davis.